Almost done. Hey guys, so a quick update on things. Looks like there are 3 parties very interested in taking on the school, which is great. It's a great position to be in. One is a local couple I've mentioned. They've been doing the English school thing for 10 years now, probably a little bit more. I can't remember exactly when they started in 2010. And they've got 2 locations, 3 kids, I believe, 2 kids, can't remember. They're probably the best option, like as far as like a quick turnaround. The other is a friend of mine who's been in Tokushima just almost exactly as long as I have, but he took a stint and went back to Seattle with his wife. She took off like a rocket. He kind of just crashed and burns, and they got divorced, and he came back. And so he's pretty happy here, and he's interested in the school, but as I said, he's on a short-term visa, and it's a little dicey, you know. And then this has really surprised me, actually. The third person is actually a friend's wife. He lives in Kobe. Never actually met him. He's one of those online friends. He's a software developer, actually, living over here. And I just reached out to him. We talk about work and software stuff, and I just on a whim said, hey, if you know anyone who's interested. He's like, he got back to me that night, and like, my wife is. So that's cool. That's great. The issue is they live in Kobe, and as far as I know, she doesn't have anyone lined up as a teacher. She speaks amazing English, but I don't want, you know how there's that native teacher versus non-native teacher thing going on, and it's nothing. The issue is, like, some people call it discrimination, but it's just the fact is people pay a premium for teachers who are native speakers. 99% of the time, maybe not that much, say 90% of the time, it doesn't make that much of a difference. As long as a teacher can speak clearly and they don't have like this overwhelmingly difficult accent, it really doesn't make a difference. But it's just a marketing thing. And because I, as a native teacher, started this school, I feel like if I, introduced a new teacher, even if they were really good and amazing, which of course they would have to be for me to sell, but they weren't a native teacher, it might kind of cause a little bit of a mix-up. Because some of the parents have mentioned, we really like the fact that you're a native teacher and you can speak Japanese with us, and you're a dad, so they really like that part of me as a, basically as a product. So I'm gonna meet with them online tomorrow, and hopefully, I just got off the phone with the landlord. We're gonna meet with a real estate agent about making a new contract for the incoming people, and things should start happening. So it's a good position to be in. People are genuinely interested. So we'll see who takes the bait. And there's some other logistics, like if someone says, well, hey, I'll pay you, this much versus this much, that might be waiting on. It's not all about money, but like, if you had worked so hard and built something up like this, you would like to have something to show for it. And I'm also going to be making less money for the next couple of months than I am now. Although I'll have far fewer expenses, it may be the case that I'll have to kind of, dip into some of whatever I can make off the school to get through the next 6 months to a year. I'm going to try to tone down my spending habits too. There's a few odds and ends I need to get heading into winter, and then for my home office setup, but nothing too crazy. That's another thing, actually. This new job, even the top salary where it maxes out is like abysmally low for a software developer. It's like 2/3 of what the average software developer makes. Actually, no, it's I guess 2/3 is close enough. What would that be? Anyways, yeah. So in the U.S., it'd kind of be like you'd be taking a really big hit. You'd be able to say, like, I'm doing remote work as a software developer on your resume, which is like the crown jewel of software development. If you can get a job doing it, working remotely, you're good to go. So awesome position. But here in Japan, in Tokushima especially, the cost of living is much, much lower than the U.S. I would say maybe approaching like 60% of life in the U.S., 70. Some places living in Tokushima is probably like 30% of like living somewhere in Seattle or something. So this salary will actually be enough to live off, not like decadently into retirement, but so things have come together fairly well. I'm just hoping that I can do well from here. So I think it's gonna be a little bit emotional too. It's this weird relationship with the kids. Like they don't really love English and they get bored in class, obviously. I try to make it interesting, but there is something, this like connection, these little guys that have been coming and they know each other and they're not mastering English or anything, but there's definitely like this emotional connection. Like you want them to do well. You kind of want to know how they're doing. Like, what'd you do this weekend? How's school? Are you doing your homework? The simple kind of interactions with these little human beings, that are just so pure and happy and really, really precious. And they grow up so fast, Like when I started here, my oldest was 3. He was this little puppy, And there's so many of them around here in the neighborhood, and we all kind of recognize each other, and it's kind of cool that I walk across the street to the convenience store. I can say, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" They're like, "Oh, hey, Ryo no Otosan toka, Sena no Otosan." My kids, I'm their father, and they know my kids. They say, "Oh, you're," and that's really cool on a social level, because I really do love kids, but the reality is, it's like nothing's gonna change. They're gonna grow up and go on junior high, high school, university, and I'm still gonna be here doing the same thing. And like sometimes in life, you just gotta say like, okay, it's time to get off the train. 12 years of teaching English it's a lot, and it's a lot for something that you never really were that passionate about, for something that you were always trying to like make some reason for it to be enjoyable, which a lot of us do with our work. That's not uncommon. I think I don't know how many studies have been done, but it's fair to say that a good amount of people do not enjoy their work. They don't find it interesting. They'd rather not do it, but they need the money. So at the very, very least, with English teaching, it's kind of forced me to like analyze how the English language works and to cultivate, I think, some pretty valuable skills. Being able to speak with strangers for a very long time and kind of carry the conversation, being able to elicit what people are about, keeping people interested in sometimes very boring subjects, and so on and so forth. Becoming more social, able to just talk to people, which is really valuable, actually. A lot of people can't do that. They don't like it, especially if it's someone they don't know. So I'm happy for the experiences, and of course, like, learning Japanese and starting a business and growing it and being successful and making a living from it have all been amazing lessons. And the problem is, we just don't live forever. If I could somehow like do something else, and like ideally you could hire a teacher, but then I've been making next to nothing. There's just so many things. So it's time to move on. Create a new lifestyle and invest more heavily in the future. That's the biggest point, is that I don't feel like teaching this school is an investment in the future any longer. I feel I'm kind of like treading water and maybe coming close to sinking further down the line. So anyways, that's long enough. I'll post another update once I've kind of had some information. The burden of choice, it's like who to go with. So I think probably the best approach is to just qualify people by like who can start the earliest, who can get everything switched over the earliest. So that obviously they'd have to have the money in hand, and a native teacher to work here. Staff could be worked out, I think. There's a local mom who could be very helpful, and there's plenty of people around who could probably help out with that. Maybe not in a full-time capacity, but it could it's doable, you know. So it's really about getting the money and a native teacher who cares and isn't a complete screw up. So we'll see how that goes. All right, until next time.